Little bear, what are you doing? I'm being contemplative. Contemplative. What is contemplative? I wonder if contemplated is different than meditative. There is a difference between being contemplative and being meditative. So, I'd like to tell you what that is. Now, you don't have to wear a monk's habit to be contemplative, because oftentimes we think that monks deserve to be contemplative because they're monks, and Christians in general can be meditative, but we don't want to be contemplative because that's a deeper spiritual level. No, they're under the household of prayer. So prayer has a brother and sister, meditation and contemplation. Now, I did a previous drone bear pause on chewing the cud, meditation. Meditation is pondering the essence of God and dwelling on Scripture and spending time through prayer and Scripture with God. Contemplation is a little different, and you don't have to wear a monk's robe. I remember, I'll show you. Underneath here, I have just my regular hot Texas outfit. I used to surf. I surfed for 14 years. And believe it or not, I was very contemplative by nature. So I believe some people are contemplative by nature. They're born contemplative. They ponder and they think and they reason and they spiritualize a lot. So sometimes somebody says, you know, you're so spiritually minded, you're no earthly good. That's not true. You need to be spiritually minded. So the world robs us of the desire to meditate and to be contemplative. Now, for some people, contemplation is more natural. So when I'm on my surfboard and there's no waves coming for a while, guess what I'm doing? I'm 16 and I'm being contemplative. I'm thinking of the ocean. I'm thinking of the birds flying by and giving God the glory for what I see. So contemplation is this. You hear a sermon, you read something in a book, you are stirred by something that you see, either in nature or just something in general. And then you begin to ponder that. But it's not just like that. It's not like, well, I'm so busy, I got to go on to the next thing, and then we sort of lose track of time, and we thought of it for a while, and then it just kind of poof, vanishes away, and we don't think about it any longer. No, contemplation, it could last days. You're pondering. The pastor said something in a sermon, or you read a quote that leaped out at you, and it troubles you. It just, you contemplate it, and you wonder it. Well, I'll give you an example. This morning, I was on my deck, sitting, well, I couldn't sleep. It was like 3:30 or 4 in the morning, so I got myself a tea, and I sat on my deck, on the chair, a swivel chair, and I looked up at the heavens, and I got my iPhone out, and I began to look at the constellations, and seeing which one was which, and I got this cool light that shines. It looks like 1,000 miles into space. It's a bright light that you can point out constellations to children or to adults that like that sort of thing. And I was pointing out the constellations, looking at my app and comparing, and in the middle of all that, I got contemplative. I was pondering the heavens and the creation of God and what He was about. And I thought of Abraham seeing the same constellations. I thought of Moses seeing the same constellations. And I got very touched. And what that turned into, it turned into me exalting and worshiping and loving God. It turned into a very deep, precious time with the Father and His creation through Jesus Christ. And that is contemplation, where meditation could just be the very moment that you're at, and then it kind of passes. But contemplation goes into a deeper level. Now, that's my definition. There may be a whole bunch of definitions out there on Google. I don't know where you'll find them, but I'm trying to show you the difference between meditation and contemplation and prayer. Prayer is the general house that you enter. And in the middle of that quick, short, maybe prayer or long prayer, you're thinking of others, you're asking God for needs, that God will fulfill your desires. That's all under the banner of prayer. Now, meditation goes deeper. It goes into the place where you think about God and what He might want for you as you ask for something, and you meditate upon that, and you spend time with God. But contemplation exercises the mind. You want to reason. Come, let us reason together, the scripture says. You want to think of God in a deep, deep way. How contemplative are you? Are you spending time with God in contemplation? Nature can bring that out as you study the creation of God. Here's an example of what I would call contemplative prayer. I was at my local supermarket called HEB. They're all over here in South Texas, in fact, all of Texas. And as I was walking out towards the parking lot with my groceries, it didn't have much, I walked right by this bougainvillea that was sitting on kind of a stone rock formation that they have in front of the market to keep cars from crashing through the doors. So they're quite high. And it was just the perfect height. As I was walking by, I was arrested by the redness and the beauty and the vibrancy of this bougainvillea. But what really intrigued me was the little flowers and the white and yellow and the red, and everything was so perfectly made. And of course, I had Marilyn in the car waiting for me, so I had to kind of scurry and get to the car. But I couldn't help but continue to ponder of the beauty of the bougainvillea. In fact, it's crazy because the next day I was still pondering the beauty of that bougainvillea. I was in contemplation for hours. In fact, the hours turned into the next day, contemplating the beauty of that flower. I had to go back and buy it. Sounds crazy. To go back and have it belong to me, to have it in my presence, because of the beauty that reflected to me God's creative power and His genius. That's contemplative prayer. It's more than just a passing fancy. It's something that you ponder and meditate upon. I leave you with this word, to pause and ponder.